O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God, keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Last time I was this proud to be a Canadian, I can't even tell you.
Yeah, I agree. Like right now, the clown world out there, with everything going on, I'm starting to wonder if this is really a country right now, like the way that all the things are going on with the mask mandates and all that stuff.
I think people are slowly coming back together. That divide that's been put between us is slowly starting to get smaller and smaller.
Okay, well, Trudeau, just step down for us all, please.
Very good.
Freedom. Freedom. We want our freedom back.
And I like that comment you said about, it's proud to be Canada, like Canadian here and now, but where's that feeling going?
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah, it just feels so good to see everybody out, even like with the kids and like all different ages and everybody waking up early to just be here and feel together. It's awesome.
And it's not like the media portraying people like us like crazy, crazy people out doing crazy things. We're actually just doing our own thing, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, you guys have a great day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to see the government reverse this mandate even quicker than they put it in. It's unnecessary. There's more vaxxed, double vaxxed, triple vaxxed people I know that are getting COVID than non-vaxxed. And I do not think it's right that they mandate it, that the children are going to have to take it. They say it's safe and it's preventive, and it hasn't been.
Is it an experiment yet, though? Like, is the experiment over?
I think they have 75 years to create that result.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it eradicates the disease like it did for polio. I think it's too premature, and I think the government should have the fortitude to stand up and say, we've made a mistake, we've done our best, this is the end of it, let's stop creating a further hardship to the businesses, the people, especially BC. We've been through a terrible year. So I think we just need to reverse this mandate, and I hope the government...
Just Trudeau standing right here, right now, what would you say to him?
If Trudeau was standing here, I'd say there's no such thing as mild myocarditis. I'd say we're free people. We're fighting for our kids. I'm not giving up. I'm not taking your stupid vaccine. And we've got a lot of fight in us. So.
Awesome messaging. I like that. I agree with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All I can say is I'm in full support of the trucking industry and all the independent truckers out there, and I know plenty of independent truckers in my life.
Absolutely.
Or because of my career. I'm self-employed, and all the truckers I know are wonderful, awake people, and they're just an awesome group of people, and I'm just here to support them because it's such a large industry that is awake. And they got an incredible amount of power.
Control over the logistics.
Because they're united.
Yeah. And they're united in the way they think and the way they act, I bet.
That's right.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
You too.
If you have something to say, it'll get out there. Sorry to get off here. Do you have something to say?
We're not anti-vax, we're anti-big pharma, and we're anti-government overreach. It's important to distinguish between the two.
And what do you say to Trudeau that about 2 weeks ago he's on French language television saying that unvaxxed people were misogynistic, they were extremists. Literally, it's on a French language channel. You can look it up. He was calling unvaxxed people misogynistic and all this. What do you think of that?
Prove it. What's your proof? Not my president.
Not my president or prime minister. Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. Well, what would happen if you put a different thing in there, like women are misogynistic or black people? What if you changed that word unvaxxed for somebody else?
Then it's racist. And it's hate talk.
Right?
It's hate speech. He's guilty of hate speech in itself. So yeah.
Not to mention blackface.
Yeah, I know.
Years ago,
like,
right?
It's time for hey-ho. It's time for Trudeau to go.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it.
I'm a nurse, and I would rather never go back to work after 17 years of working at the bedside of patients, holding them while they were dying in my arms because their loved ones couldn't make it.
I'd rather not be a nurse, giving the best patient care and holding your family member's hand while they're going through a horrible struggle, than to take a vaccine or force others to take a vaccine against their will, because it's not consent, it's not freedom, and there's no value to life if somebody else is your dictator, or if you're living in a dictatorship.
So if you're coerced into, quote, getting your freedoms back, that's not really a free decision, is it?
No, absolutely not. It's coercion, it's blackmail, it's living in a society where you don't have a say about your own body, you don't have a say about how you treat people. And
you talk about them on TV and say how the unvaxxed are doing all these horrible things, and we're just here trying to live our lives.
You know who's doing the horrible things? The people that go around and shame people for their beliefs. There's a reason why we have free will. Yes. We were created and designed for free will. And I believe that we all deserve to have choices in our life. You have a choice to go to where you work, what you do for a living, how you treat people. And if you're going to shame people for having their own beliefs, there's something wrong with that.
I totally agree, and social media really is more like anti-social media, because there's so many people online that are shaming people that are unvaxxed, and it's like animalistic behavior almost, verbally, it seems.
Yeah, actually the social policing is a bit of an issue. I also have kids in hockey, and the amount of pressure it is to constantly check people's vaccines, multiple times.
Yeah.
And the worst thing about it is that the kids feel segregated from their family members. They feel segregated from their teammates because their parents can't be there to watch them in the stands. Yeah. And they've actually done a real big detriment to kids' mental health. In fact, we've actually had a kid commit suicide last year over COVID, and what had happened and transpired. There's a lot of other kids who are really suffering because they don't have their parents with them.
So I feel, in my opinion, there's a lot of social damage going on by not allowing people to get together and making them cover their face and not allowing them to see their partners or people in the hospital or go to their games even. I know somebody that has kids in hockey, and the same thing. They didn't want to get vaccinated, but they had to go see their kids play hockey, right?
Yeah, and they use the peer pressure, the police, to create the police mentality. If you don't take the vaccine, then you're one of those people. And rather than say, okay, well, that's your choice, but they literally physically blockade the doors so you can't get in.
That's pretty messed up.
So we support. We want to make sure that we make ourselves known to everybody, and that will gather the people who are in the ranks that are not coming out because they're afraid. Don't be afraid to have the right to be yourself.
And to have a point of view that's different than the narrative, maybe.
And not follow the bad media. Follow the good media.
Thank you.
That's our own way of doing it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good words. Thank you.
Carry on, Canada. We're going to fight this.
Awesome. Thank you.
That his tyranny needs to come to an end.
Absolutely. And our freedoms are at stake. We don't need to win our freedoms back. We need to have freedom, I think, in Canada.
Yeah, we need our freedom back. We need people to be able to make a choice, and mandates need to go.
And I don't think it's right for them to take away what we... take away what we already have. We walk down the street and go in a store without having to wear a mask, and now we get our, quote, freedoms back. I think that's a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, coercion is not, that's not consent.
And you know, the other interesting thing is segregation. People are like, oh, no, that's only means for black folks and stuff. No, segregation is when you separate people, right?
Exactly. So, yeah, we're creating a two-class system, and that's not healthy for a country.
I agree.
We need to stand together.
I want my Canada back. This is Canada right here, but the rest of the shit going on is not my Canada.
I've been facing medical tyranny for about 20 years.
Good for you. I appreciate that.
Well, it's, you know what? It is what it is. And you have to just kind of keep going, you know? So the fact that everybody's out here.
You don't see this on the news. They won't even play this on the news.
No.
Anyway, thank you guys.
TV was here before the truck started rolling.
Just to say, look at all those crazy anti-vaxxers or something.
No, if our numbers are too great, then they can't show it because that will damage their narrative.
Well, their narrative's fucked anyway.
Well, I mean, look at the protest downtown yesterday. Okay. We had 2,000 people marching through the streets, but it won't be covered. Yeah, it won't be covered because if they see that there's 2,000 people marching through the streets downtown, that will hurt them.
Right.
So it will never be covered.
We need to have a choice. Yeah. We need to have a choice when it comes to our health and health care and disease and sickness. We need to have a choice.
And we don't need people telling us what to do with our own bodies? Maybe?
Correct. We do not need to be told what to do and what to take and how many of them to take. We can't be having the government profiting off of these healthcare companies, put money in their pockets. We just need to have a choice.
Yeah.
We need to have a choice.
I totally agree with that, and I think that it pretty much sums it up. Would you like to say anything?
Well, just the fact that, we were pretty much pressured into getting vaccinated.
Coerced?
Yeah, coerced into getting vaccinated because we thought we would have the freedom to do what we wanted, and we haven't.
I agree.
Getting vaccinated was pointless, especially when people are getting sick anyways.
And you're kind of stuck in that loop where they can call you and say, oh, you need your 7th booster now, and if you don't, your Vax Pass isn't working no more, sorry.
When we can still give it to people when we're vaccinated, well, it should be my choice whether I'm sick, or if I'm kind of sick. And it's just not changing anything. So what was the point in the beginning?
I feel a lot of empathy for people that have been vaccinated. I myself haven't been. I've been lucked out so far. But over there, she has been, and she feels like she's been duped.
Oh, totally.
Like, 100%. Fooled. Like, fool me once, fool me twice.
Oh, yeah. I've totally been duped.
And I can see it's an emotional thing. And for me, there's so much anxiety. Like, I was afraid of losing my job, and I lucked out so far, but I haven't.
Yeah.
I think this also needs to be a referendum on the news.
Yeah.
This has to be over.
On the type of media or on it?
Well, the news isn't covering what it should be covering. Like, this is all about potholes. No, it's not. It's not about potholes.
We can't be turning on the news and it just be propaganda for the government. That can't happen.
They should be held accountable too.
I agree, and they're fomenting, I think, a lot of hate against people just by, and especially like a couple weeks ago, Trudeau was on French language television saying that unvaccinated people are misogynistic, racist, extremist.
Yeah, we're not domestic terrorists.
No.
We're not racists. We're not bigots. We're just good Canadian.
And how is it even right that people can say that out on television, let alone a world leader?
Yeah. It's hate speech, but it's okay for him to say it.
I thought instead of the word unvaccinated in that whole thing he said, I was thinking, what if he put black folks or East Indian folks or gay folks or women and singled out them? Do you think that would fly?
No, not a chance.
But it's okay we got some people that didn't want to get a shot.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's not okay.
Fuck Trudeau, I say.
If Justin Trudeau was standing right here, I would say, let's go Justin Castro.
I am here because I am tired of the restrictive overreach of our government. And if they can take a senior like me who's, partially immobile, partially deaf, to say I will come out here because it is worth it. It's worth it for me, for my grandchildren, for my children, and who knows what else. All the people of Canada deserve better.
I think you're right, and I don't think that people are being treated fairly at all.
Certainly are not. Certainly are not, and we deserve better. We've fought for this country, and this country can be and should be great. I'm finally proud to be a Canadian again.
I would like to feel proud to be a Canadian again soon. Do you think this situation may get better or worse soon?
I think Canadians are to the point now that we're going to stand up and say enough's enough.
I really hope so. In Britain, they canceled all of the mandates and everything.
And we should here too.
I believe so. Thank you very much for your interview. What do you think about Trudeau 2 or 3 weeks ago on French language television saying to Canadians that unvaxxed people are misogynistic, extremists, and racist? He actually said that. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see it.
He was on a French language television.
Disgraceful.
Literally said that. It was in French. They had a translation. He said all three of those things about unvaxxed people.
Yeah, that is very disgraceful.
Is that something a leader of a country should be saying?
Not one bit.
I was relating that because the way the wording was, you instead of anti-vax in there, you could probably put a black person, a brown person, a homosexual person, or whatever. If they had put that in there instead of anti-vax, would people have probably lashed out, right? Because you don't say that about other groups, but you can say it about an anti-vax crowd.
All those people stand in unity. This is not all about the jab or anything like that. There's more to it. The mandates, everything. This is our democracy. We're fighting for our freedoms.
I totally agree. And look at Britain. They just dropped everything.
Correct. Yep. They're doing
overnight.
This is how it should be today.
I don't think the Prime Minister of England really believed in all the bullshit anyway.
Not one bit.
To be able to drop that.
That's correct. I agree with you.
If Justin Trudeau is standing here right now, what would you say to him?
It's time to step down.
Yeah, exactly. Time to step down. The people have spoken. They're tired.
Look at Paul Olivier, the conservative guy interviewing Trudeau. He's like, nobody believes you.
He should be our next PM for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, you guys.
You're welcome. Good luck on the fight.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
So, as a Canadian business owner, I have been appalled. There's been over 200,000 small business owners been destroyed and continuing to grow. They're not happy to destroy just businesses. They're going after nurses, doctors. It's
truck
all
drivers.
Of us. Truck drivers. It's all of us. And if Canadians don't wake up, you will lose everything. That's what they're trying to do to us.
And people seem to think that getting the vaccine, and I don't admonish anybody getting a vaccine because they do it for their own purpose or whatever. I don't hate on them, but you know what? They're sure all hating on everybody else and destroying businesses.
Yeah, it's clear that, as I was listening to Michael Campbell this morning, he is a brilliant, analyst, but, he said this morning, like this, his goofy award of the week was, the mantra is follow the science. And he said, well, how can you have all over the world different countries, organizations having completely contrary science, but we're all following the science? And I commend Michael Campbell and many others who are speaking the truth, coming against this insanity. And we as Canadians need to stand together as one people, one nation, under God, and take a stand for our country, or we're going to lose it.
If Trudeau's standing here right now, what would you say to him?
He's, well, for one thing, freedom of choice is the big one. I mean, nobody has the right to tell anybody what to put in their own body. No one has that right. The mandates, they should be lifted. It's destroying, it's dividing people, brother against brother, family members against family, friends again, no longer friends.
It's almost like it was orchestrated.
Yeah, it's a politically motivated agenda.
It's an ideal, I think, like an ideology, right?
Yeah, and it's basically geared down to one thing. They want a one world government. It's organized, global. Well, I don't like to say that conspiracy actually is what it really is, because they want to have a totally different one world government.
Seems like it's a desperate at all costs. They're going to do anything, say anything to get people to be vaccinated.
Yes.
And coercion.
It doesn't matter, even if you don't even have anything wrong with you. Even if you don't.
So we're down at the rally here out in Chilliwack. So how do you feel about all this?
Well, I'm here because I see a gradual deterioration on our rights and freedoms as Canadians, and this has to stop.
I totally agree with that, and I think it is really oppression and tyranny when somebody's telling you what to do with your own body, I feel.
Well, totally. What happened to my body, my choice, and the whole thing about the vaccines and the mandates, they're only emergency use only. They have any of the testing is coming out is showing they're actually bad for everybody. The risk is way more than the reward. So, people have to, this news has to get out there. The media itself seems to be corrupt or bought out, and they don't want to tell the people what's really happening. And, I just honor people that have the faith and courage to get out and actually expound what's really going on and be truthful with people and let people make up their own minds from there. But if they're not getting the message, how do they make up their minds?
I agree with you, and I also feel that with the media and the propaganda style that we're getting, and we're only getting a certain narrative. And when they have thousands of people show up to defend our rights, and they turn around and make it out like we're just a bunch of stupid people, is really indicative, I think, of the narrative that's really broken right now.
Well, it's all part of this cancel culture, and if you don't believe with what they say, then you're a Nazi, or you're an outcast, right? You're a social pariah.
And I don't know if you guys heard on that Justin Trudeau was on French language about 3 weeks ago. He actually said out loud that people that are anti-vaxxers, which in itself is a really misnomer, really, said that people like us are misogynistic, extremist, racist even. He actually said that out loud. Isn't that kind of a form of hate speech, do you think, telling citizens of a country to hate somebody else for something?
Well, it totally is, specifically in what's perceived to be a democratic society. This is the furthest thing from that. And, if anybody is racist or misogynistic, it's him, based on, the truth that's come out about him.
And, the guy that does blackface, so many years ago, is sitting there saying that,
Yeah, and,
hypocritical, it sounds like.
Paid off from the Point Grey Academy, the person that he infringed upon her rights and freedoms, and that's not reported because it's a legal thing. Yeah. Nobody wants to report on that.
Right. Well, I really thank you for having some words about this.
Just to add that it's all about breaking up the family still.
Yeah, I agree.
Creating
a social fabric.
Social fabric, and that's part of the story.
Yeah,
it's a gradual disintegration of the Western world.
I agree.
It's happening in the U.S. and in Canada, and people better wake up.
If Justin Trudeau was standing right here, what would you say to him?
I would say listen to the horns, listen to the people, look at the crowds that are standing up for freedom.
Thank you very much. And you've been around for a while, but I'm sure all of you guys have been around for a while. So
I'm 86 years old, man.
Too long.
I will never quit. I'll never quit.
I hope I last that long, but thank you very much for showing up and supporting
Thanks
everything.
for doing what you're doing.
And I